It's hard to find a race in fiction with a more tragic fate than the Nonmen from R.Scott Bakker's The Second Apocalypse. Imagine this: their enemy wiped out all their women, leaving their people with no future. They are cursed with immortality, but their memory retains only pain and horror, erasing all joy and light. Their consciousness is an endless prison of suffering, and even in death, there is no release. Their souls inevitably fall into the afterlife's abyss, where they face eternal torment. However, this video is not about the history of the Nonmen. If you're interested in that topic, I highly recommend the Cursed Armada channel, where an excellent video on the origins of the Nonmen has already been released. Here, I want to focus on a single but very intriguing question. Why can't the Nonmen perceive two-dimensional images? Why don't they understand paintings or see meaning in drawings? Let's try to delve into their minds and uncover the truth behind this mystery. The question first arises in the judging eye when Akka and Mimara, along with the Skin Eaters, traverse the ruined Nonman mansion. They encounter monumental bas-reliefs, striking not only in their scale, but in their obsessive level of detail. Every element is carved with manic precision, from the interlocking rings of Nonmen chainmail to the scars on knuckles and the rivulets of tears on the cheeks of human slaves. Each minute feature is captured with unsettling clarity, reflecting not just masterful craftsmanship, but a peculiar, almost compulsive desire to preserve every fragment of reality.
Then why not simply paint murals the way we do?
Nonmen can't see paintings. It's true, paintings are naught but gibberish to their eyes. The Nonmen may resemble us, but they are far more different than you can imagine.
Why can't Nonmen see two-dimensional images? The answer to this question was provided by author during an appearance on Robert Lamb's podcast, Stuff to Blow Your Mind. To understand this concept, it helps to first consider the prehistoric art found in the Chauvet Cave in southern France. The people of the Chauvet Cave discovered that by running their charcoal-covered fingers along the walls, they could create the outlines of animals. Just a few simple lines were enough to depict bison, lions, and horses. But even more fascinating is how these ancient artists played with the illusion of motion. Many of the animal depictions feature overlapping outlines, lions with multiple heads, or bison with extra legs. Archaeologists believe this was a form of Paleolithic animation. As the flickering torchlight danced along the walls, it created the illusion of movement, making the animals seem alive. An obvious parallel can be drawn here with the statues of beasts crafted by the ancient Nonmen, particularly the wolf gates. Each wolf statue embodied three distinct states of the same creature. Their heads were carved in three different positions, capturing moments frozen in time or symbolic shifts in emotional states. It's possible that the ancient Nonmen, armed with the power of gnosis, far more advanced than simple torchlight, could have used it to animate their statues, making them appear to move as if alive. The example of the Chauvet Cave highlights a fundamental feature of human consciousness: the ability to recognize shapes and motion even with minimal visual information. Our brain fills in the gaps, allowing us to perceive a complete figure where there are only a few lines. But for non-men, it's a different story. Their cognitive architecture is fundamentally distinct from that of humans. In speculative fiction, authors often give fictional races unique traits to emphasize their differences from humans. In the works of Canadian writer Peter Watts, vampires are portrayed as a separate branch of Homo sapiens, apex predators that surpass humans in strength, speed, and intelligence. Their fear of crosses is explained neurophysiologically. Upon seeing the intersection of straight angles, they experience epileptic seizures. Watts rationalizes elements of popular culture, transforming superstitions into biological features. R.Scott Bakker took a somewhat different approach. Instead of reimagining cultural symbols, he embedded concepts from his philosophical framework, the blind brain theory, into the nature of non-men, giving these beings cognitive differences that set them apart from humans. The blind brain theory asserts that human consciousness is the result of the brain's limited access to its own cognitive processes. Despite processing an enormous volume of information, consciousness captures only a small part of it. It's like peering through a keyhole. The brain perceives a fragment of reality, but fills in the gaps, creating the illusion of wholeness. Consciousness emerges at the boundary between the known and the unknown, but these boundaries are invisible to us. We perceive reality as complete and coherent, even though we only access fragments of it. The brain fills in the blanks, giving rise to the illusion of a seamless experience. The principles of blind brain theory are echoed in the philosophy of the Nonmen in r.scott Bakker's works. Unlike humans, who mask their ignorance with rationalizations and the illusion of knowledge, the non-men confront their cognitive limitations and even revere them. As Cleric puts it, "For my kind, holiness begins where comprehension ends." To better understand the differences between non-men and humans, let us once again turn to the metaphor of a cave. Plato's allegory of the cave describes a group of prisoners chained inside a dark cave, facing a blank wall. Behind them, a fire casts shadows of objects being moved by unseen figures. To the prisoners, these shadows are the only reality they know. But one prisoner breaks free, escapes the cave, and sees the world beyond, a world of light, color, and true forms. Initially blinded by the sun, he gradually perceives reality as it truly is. When he returns to free the others, they reject him, clinging to the familiar shadows. Let's alter Plato's myth by replacing the human prisoners with non-men. Unlike humans, non-men wouldn't be deceived by the shifting shadows on the cave wall. For them, the shadows would lack both meaning and reality. Where humans see images and craft meanings, non-men see only emptiness and non-existence. In this way, non-men are closer to Plato's freed prisoner, who after glimpsing true reality can no longer see significance in the shadows. This is their defining trait. Where humans seek meaning, non-men see only its absence. What might seem like a visual limitation at first glance reveals a unique cognitive framework, shaping a profoundly different view of reality. Like a fragment of a mosaic, this insight could unlock a deeper understanding of their religion and philosophy. David Hume, an 18th century Scottish philosopher, argued that religion arose from fear of the unknown. Confronted with phenomena they could not explain, humans projected human traits and intentions onto them. This anthropomorphic perception became the basis of human religion, transforming natural forces and abstract concepts into relatable and comprehensible gods. This approach made the unknown more accessible and fostered an illusion of control. The fear of death, natural disasters, and random events turned religion into a source of comfort and reassurance. In contrast, the Nonmen, who are not inclined to anthropomorphize, perceive religion from an entirely different perspective. Their cognitive framework allows them to view the world as a collection of neutral processes without attributing human traits or intentions phenomena. To the Nonmen, gods are not personalities, but rather fundamental forces, facets, and principles of metaphysics. Their culture includes practices reminiscent of human religious rites, but these are not acts of worship. Instead, such rituals serve as means of purification, the cultivation of spiritual experience, and the pursuit of harmony and unity with nature. Let us once again recall the cleric, the mysterious non-man hero, whose sermons reveal the specific worldview of the ancient non-men.
Fear. This is how you ask the question for you, are men. And fear is ever the way you raise questions great things.
The sermons of cleric reflect profound philosophical ideas intricately woven into the fabric of this fantasy world. Concepts like the horizon in the darkness, the multiplicity of the soul perceived as a unified whole, and the transition from being to becoming invite us to reflect on the worldview of the ancient non-men. As a race, they appear as a conceptual model, a reflection on potential paths of ideological evolution for humanity. Yet their fate serves as a tragic lesson: betrayal, internal strife, and wars with the Inkoroi destroyed their greatness, leaving behind only the shadow of a once glorious civilization. The cleric is not the only character who points out the fundamental difference between non-men and men. Already at the very beginning of the first book, we encounter this divide. The protagonist meets a mysterious rider whose face, hidden beneath a helmet, belongs to a non-man. It is he who first reveals the nature of this difference. This is what separates your kind from mine. Fear, the clawing, grubbing impulse to survive. For us, life is always a decision. For you, well, let us just say it decides.